What if I told you that a moment of casual disrespect could unravel an entire career simply by glancing at a chest? What if a cruel joke played on a quiet stranger revealed a legend? The midday sun beat down on a bustling market street in a vibrant American city. Elias Eli Thorne, a man whose easy smile belied a profound quietness, navigated his way through the crowds with a steady, unhurried gait. He wore a simple, well-worn t-shirt and cargo shorts, but pinned subtly to the left side of his chest, almost hidden beneath a fold of fabric, was a small, unassuming ribbon. He looked like any other veteran enjoying his day, perhaps a little older, with eyes that had seen too much. He was, in truth, one of the nation's most highly decorated heroes, a man who preferred anonymity over accolades. For more gripping tales from the hidden corners of justice and beyond, subscribe to Dark Side of Luna, where the shadows hold the truth. As Eli paused by a fruit stall, a harsh voice cut through the market's cheerful din. "Hey, old man, you got a permit to be blocking this sidewalk." Officer Reyes, a young, arrogant officer notorious for his condescending attitude towards the community's elders and veterans, swaggered up to Eli. Reyes had a reputation for aggressive stops, particularly with those he perceived as vulnerable or low status. His partner, Officer Gomez, a quieter man, shifted uncomfortably behind him. Eli turned slowly, his expression calm. "Officer, I'm just looking at the fruit, not blocking anything." His voice was soft even. Reyes scoffed, placing a hand on his hip. "Oh, a wise guy, huh? You veterans think you own the place. You think that faded t-shirt gives you special privileges." He chuckled, a cruel, mocking sound. "What's that little piece of lint on your shirt there? Some kind of participation ribbon for showing up to bingo?" Reyes leaned in, his face close to Eli's, a sneer plastered on his lips. "Let me guess, you're looking for handouts, aren't you? Trying to con some sympathy with your hero stories?" Eli's gaze remained steady, unwavering. He said nothing, simply looking at Reyes with a quiet patience that seemed to infuriate the officer further. "What? Nothing to say now, old-timer." Reyes pressed, growing bolder, enjoying his perceived dominance. He reached out with a condescending poke at Eli's chest, intending to flick away what he thought was a worthless trinket. But his finger brushed against something solid, metallic, and unexpectedly heavy. His eyes, following his hand, finally landed on the object. Officer Reyes's blood ran cold. The piece of lint, the participation ribbon he had so casually mocked, wasn't just any medal. It was the Medal of Honor, the highest and most prestigious military decoration in the United States, awarded for valor above and beyond the call of duty. Its distinctive pale blue ribbon and five-pointed star were unmistakable, recognized across the nation as the ultimate symbol of heroism. He knew instantly that he hadn't just insulted an old man or a veteran. He had publicly humiliated a living legend, a national treasure, a man whose quiet presence was now magnified by the gravity of his sacrifice. The color drained from Reyes's face, his arrogance evaporating into a sickening dread. Officer Gomez, sensing the shift, stepped forward, a frown on his face. "Reyes, what is it?" he asked, then his gaze, too, fell upon the medal, his eyes widening in a mixture of awe and dawning horror. He recognized it immediately. The blood ran from his face as well. Eli Thorne, however, remained perfectly calm. He gently adjusted the medal on his chest, a subtle, deliberate movement that carried more weight than any shouted word. His eyes, now sharp and direct, met Reyes's terrified gaze. "Officer," Eli said, his voice still soft, but with an underlying steel that sent shivers down Reyes's spine. "I believe you asked if I had a permit to be blocking the sidewalk." Just then, a flash of movement caught Reyes's peripheral vision. A tall, distinguished man in a dark suit, accompanied by two stern-faced individuals, was quickly making his way through the crowd, heading directly towards them. It was Justice Secretary Randall Thorne, known for his unwavering commitment to integrity within the armed forces and an aggressive stance against police misconduct. He had been quietly observing the market from a nearby cafe, a habit he maintained to stay connected with the pulse of the community, when he noticed the escalating confrontation involving an older veteran. Justice Secretary Thorne, no relation to Elias Thorne, though their shared last name would later become a powerful symbol. His face, a mask of controlled fury, strode directly to Officer Reyes, his voice cutting through the market's suddenly hushed air. "Officer Reyes, what do you think you're doing?" He then looked at Eli, his expression softening instantly. "Mr. Thorne, are you all right?" Reyes stammered, unable to form a coherent sentence. His mind reeled. A Medal of Honor recipient and the Justice Secretary, all at once. His arrogant world was collapsing. What Reyes and Gomez didn't know was that Elias Thorne's quiet day was part of a larger, highly sensitive, and secret initiative. Eli wasn't just a decorated veteran. He was a key, unofficial advisor to the Department of Justice on veterans' welfare and community policing reforms. His presence in the city was a discreet, personal fact-finding mission, following up on numerous complaints about police harassment of local vendors and veterans, particularly those from marginalized communities. Secretary Randall Thorne knew Elias was in the area, and their meeting at the market was supposed to be a quiet, prearranged check-in. The secretary's two stern-faced individuals were plainclothes agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, discreetly trailing the secretary. Their hidden cameras had captured Reyes' entire, humiliating display, including the moment he mocked the Medal of Honor. Secretary Randall Thorne turned to his FBI agents. "You got all of that, gentlemen?" The agents nodded grimly, already securing their devices. He then turned back to Reyes and Gomez, his voice now cold, precise, and devoid of any emotion. "Officers, you are under arrest. Abuse of authority, conduct unbecoming an officer, and public humiliation of a national hero. Your badges now." The weight of the Justice Secretary's words, coupled with the silent, unwavering gaze of Elias Thorne, sent a final, shattering wave of despair through Officer Reyes. His career, his reputation, and his freedom were irrevocably lost, all for a moment of casual cruelty directed at a man he tragically failed to recognize. The market street, usually bustling with everyday commerce, became the epicenter of a national scandal. The sight of Officer Reyes and Officer Gomez being handcuffed by FBI agents, under the direct order of Justice Secretary Randall Thorne himself, ignited a firestorm. Within hours, cell phone footage, taken by shocked vendors and passers-by, flooded social media, rapidly going viral. The image of the arrogant officer mocking a quiet veteran, followed by the chilling reveal of the Medal of Honor, galvanized public outrage across the nation. Justice Secretary Randall Thorne wasted no time. His press conference, held within hours of the arrest, was terse and uncompromising. "No officer, regardless of rank, is above the law. The reprehensible conduct witnessed today, involving the public humiliation and abuse of a decorated national hero, will not be tolerated. My department, in full cooperation with the FBI, will pursue this matter to the fullest extent of the law." He pointedly mentioned the patterns of misconduct his office had been investigating, hinting at a larger problem within police departments nationwide. What the public didn't know was the true depth of Elias Thorne's involvement. His quiet day in the city was far from random. Eli, a man of profound integrity and unparalleled experience, had been appointed by President Emily Hayes herself to lead a highly confidential, top-level interagency task force. Its mandate, to conduct an unsparing nationwide assessment of police community relations, with a specific focus on rooting out systemic abuses, particularly those affecting veterans, the elderly, and marginalized communities. This task force, operating under the radar, was compiling evidence of deep-seated corruption, unofficial quota systems, and even instances of officers operating beyond the bounds of the law, often protected by influential figures. Eli's personal encounter with Reyes was precisely the kind of direct, irrefutable evidence they needed to break through layers of institutional denial. The arrest of Reyes and Gomez, coupled with Secretary Randall Thorne's harsh rhetoric, immediately triggered a furious backlash from the powerful National Police Chiefs Association and the Fraternal Order of Police, particularly from Police Chief Arthur Sterling of the local precinct, a politically connected figure known for fiercely protecting his department's image and autonomy. Sterling publicly denounced the FBI's actions as overzealous, attempting to portray Reyes and Gomez as isolated incidents, scapegoats for political maneuvering. He initiated a swift, internal investigation designed to exonerate his officers and undermine the federal probe. Behind the scenes, he rallied support from powerful political allies, including certain state senators and congressmen, attempting to pressure President Hayes to rein in Secretary Randall Thorne and Elias Thorne's unprecedented intrusion into local police affairs. He subtly hinted at disruptions to law and order if the local police felt under attack. As the political storm raged, Elias Thorne began to activate his own, more discreet network. He wasn't just a decorated veteran, he was a living legend within the U.S. military community and had deep, unwavering loyalty from a vast, informal network of former Special Operations Forces, intelligence officers, and even retired legal minds. Unbeknownst to Chief Sterling and his allies, Eli's task force had already established secure, anonymous channels for whistleblowers within police departments across the nation. Inspired by Eli's courage and disgusted by the institutional cover-up, these anonymous officers began leaking even more damning evidence. Detailed reports of extortion rings, protection rackets, and high-level directives to ignore certain criminal activities while aggressively targeting vulnerable citizens. This information funneled directly to Eli's task force and then discreetly shared with select, incorruptible media outlets, systematically dismantled Sterling's defense and exposed the rot from within. The Justice Secretary's initial arrests were just the tip of an iceberg, and Elias Thorne, the quiet veteran, was preparing to bring the whole corrupt structure crashing down. The public outcry had reached a fever pitch. Chief Arthur Sterling, once unshakable, found himself on the defensive, his public appearances marred by aggressive questioning about the leaked documents and the growing evidence of systemic misconduct. The relentless stream of verifiable information, funneled by Elias Thorne's discreet network of veterans and brave police whistleblowers, had painted a damning picture of a department prioritizing quotas and cover-ups over community safety and civil rights. The initial incident with Officer Reyes and Gomez, once dismissed as isolated, was now clearly understood as a symptom of a pervasive institutional rot. President Emily Hayes, observing the escalating crisis, knew the time for a decisive move had come. She publicly lauded Justice Secretary Randall Thorne's investigation and subtly praised the courage of those who speak truth to power, a clear nod to Elias Thorne and his allies. The president's strategic silence had now given way to a subtle, yet powerful, alignment with the forces of reform. In a desperate attempt to regain control and force the president's hand, Chief Sterling and the Fraternal Order of Police orchestrated a shocking escalation. They announced a citywide safety stand-down, essentially, a highly visible, deliberately slow, and non-responsive work action. Officers would respond only to the most extreme emergencies, drastically slowing down routine patrols, traffic stops, and community engagement. The FOP publicly framed it as officers standing their ground against unjust attacks from federal agencies and activists. The city quickly descended into a state of heightened anxiety as response times plummeted and the streets felt less secure. But this desperate gamble backfired spectacularly. Elias Thorne, anticipating such a move, was ready. He had spent weeks secretly mobilizing a network of retired military police, former federal agents, and community leaders. Instead of succumbing to chaos, these groups, with discreet federal backing, launched an unprecedented community watch and support initiative. Highly organized, unarmed civilian patrols, composed of diverse citizens and led by veterans like Eli, began coordinating with emergency services to assist stranded motorists, report suspicious activity, and provide visible reassurance in neighborhoods lacking police presence. They carried no weapons, only communication devices and first aid kits, acting as eyes and ears for legitimate law enforcement. This initiative showcased a model of community-led safety and starkly contrasted with the FOP self-serving stand-down, further isolating Chief Sterling. As the safety stand-down crumbled under the weight of the civilian response, Justice Secretary Randall Thorne issued a formal federal subpoena for Chief Sterling to appear before a special, publicly televised civil rights and accountability hearing. This wasn't a trial, but a fact-finding tribunal designed to lay bare the systemic issues. At the hearing, Chief Sterling, defiant to the end, attempted to dismiss the evidence, calling Elias Thorne's actions reckless interference and questioning his understanding of modern policing. It was at this moment that Elias Thorne, quiet throughout the hearing, stood up. With the weight of his Medal of Honor visibly on his chest, he calmly but powerfully addressed Chief Sterling directly, not with anger, but with the quiet authority of a true leader. Chief Sterling, Eli's voice resonated through the hearing chamber. You claim to uphold law and order. Yet your department has fostered an environment where a Medal of Honor recipient, a man who gave everything for this nation, can be mocked and abused on a public street simply because an officer failed to see his dignity. Do you believe that is upholding law and order, Chief? Do you believe that honors the oath we both took? The chamber fell silent. The moral weight of Eli's words, amplified by the Medal of Honor on his chest, was undeniable. Chief Sterling's desperate safety stand-down had backfired spectacularly, exposed by Elias Thorne's Community Watch and Support initiative. The public tribunal, with Elias Thorne's quiet, powerful challenge, had stripped away the last vestiges of Chief Sterling's credibility. The nation watched as a hero, scarred by service but unbroken in spirit, held a corrupt system accountable. The moral victory achieved at the public tribunal quickly translated into definitive legal and political action. President Emily Hayes, no longer subtle, issued an executive order declaring a national crisis in police-community relations and announced the immediate federalization of the local police department, placing it under direct oversight of the Department of Justice. Police Chief Arthur Sterling was summarily dismissed from his post and, along with his inner circle and the leadership of the FOP, was immediately arrested by FBI agents who had been standing by. Officers Reyes and Gomez, already awaiting trial, now faced additional, more severe federal charges, their individual acts of cruelty now firmly linked to a larger, corrupt enterprise. The trials that followed were a landmark moment in American jurisprudence, televised and scrutinized by a nation hungry for justice. The prosecution, led by Justice Secretary Randall Thorne, presented a mountain of evidence compiled by Elias Thorne's task force. The chilling FBI surveillance footage of Reyes mocking Eli, detailed financial records of FOP corruption and hidden protection rackets, internal memos outlining the performance metrics quota system, and the harrowing testimonies of victims and courageous police whistleblowers who had finally found their voice. Elias Thorne, the quiet veteran who chose integrity over complacency, became a profound symbol of national conscience. His testimony, delivered with calm authority and unshakable dignity, resonated with every juror and viewer. He spoke not with anger, but with a profound sense of duty and a vision for a just society. He presented the irrefutable evidence gathered by his task force and the Community Watch and Support initiative, including countless reports of officers joining citizens in patrols, showcasing the true potential of community-led safety. The verdicts were unanimous, swift, and absolute. Police Chief Arthur Sterling and his top brass were convicted of racketeering, conspiracy to violate civil rights, and dereliction of duty. They received maximum federal prison sentences, stripped of their power, pensions, and reputations, their names forever synonymous with betrayal. Officers Reyes and Gomez received severe penalties, their individual acts of cruelty now cemented in the annals of criminal justice. The Fraternal Order of Police, exposed as a shield for corruption, was forced to undergo a radical restructuring under federal supervision, its influence permanently curtailed by new anti-corruption laws. The impact on the nation was nothing short of revolutionary. President Hayes, with Elias Thorne as her chief advisor, signed into law the Elias Thorne Accountability and Dignity in Policing Act, the most comprehensive police reform legislation in U.S. history. Abolition of quotas. Federal law now strictly prohibited any police performance metrics based on arrests, stops, or citations. Mandatory federal oversight for departments with a history of civil rights violations, ensuring sustained reform. Independent civilian review boards, established nationwide with robust investigative and prosecutorial powers, backed by the Department of Justice, providing a direct channel for citizen complaints. Enhanced whistleblower protection, offering ironclad federal protection and incentives for officers to report misconduct without fear of retaliation. National Veteran Dignity Initiative, a new federal program directly overseen by Elias Thorne, ensuring veterans were always treated with the respect and care they earned, and that their voices were heard in policymaking. The Market Street where Eli was initially humiliated became a site of national reflection. A new community center, dedicated to police community dialogue and veteran support, was built there, bearing Elias Thorne's name. Elias Thorne, the Medal of Honor recipient who sought no glory, found himself forever etched into the fabric of the nation's integrity. He continued to serve, not on a battlefield, but as a guiding light for a transformed America, ensuring that the sacrifice of heroes was truly honored and that no citizen, especially those who served the country, would ever again be made to feel invisible or less than simply because an officer failed to see the true hero within. The nation, through this profound reckoning, emerged stronger, more just, and fundamentally committed to a future where valor, not arrogance, defined its protectors. For more gripping tales from the hidden corners of justice and beyond, subscribe to Dark Side of Luna, where the shadows hold the truth.